All right. We did it, America. We're back.
I'm over here now.
Where? I'm over here now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the gallery. Literally, almost dozens of people have joined us over the last several months.
All right, listen.
I throw a curveball, and you just strike out. You start to cry, and your mom is asking for you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for yourselves, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. We're so excited that you guys are joining us tonight. We have excellent guests lined up for you as always. First, I start you off with some QUARAN-BITS, as we always do. And then, on Album of the Week, we have my very good friend, Mr. MARC GERBER, and his album, AVID INDOORSMAN, one of the best titles ever, available now on 800 Pound Gorilla Records. Everywhere you get your comedy albums is going to join us. We're going to play an awesome animated clip from his album, and then we're going to get to talk all about it. And then, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, Part 2 of our special edition of Rustle Around the Interwebs with young Vince McMahon on NBC's Young Rock and the host of one of my favorite podcasts of all time about last night, Mr. Adam Ray. We're going to play Part 2 of his awesome interview, playing a clip off of his album, Read the Room, and then we're going to talk to him about his podcast, opening for New Kids on the Block. We're going to do impressions at the end. It's going to be awesome. You guys are going to love it, so give it up for yourselves for joining us on Season 3, Episode 4 of the RUS GUTIN Experience. Go Birds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 3, Episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. And it's time for another edition of your favorite segment and mine, QUARAN-BITS, where I, Papa Rus, update you about how life is going for me in the quarantine, stay-at-home comedian, homeschooling dad, pandemic lockdown situation that we have all found ourselves in, but is hopefully almost over, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of that, I have to tell you that if you know me, even before the pandemic, you would know that I was already an anxiety case, hypochondriac, germaphobe, okay? Everybody knows this.
Me up.
Yes, that's right. But as we all know, the world is starting to open up again, Mark. And the other night, I'm watching the Flyers game, and I saw at least 4 commercials, at least 4 ads in a row of places, businesses, and restaurants literally bragging about how much they are cleaning and sanitizing surfaces now as to adhere to the new CDC standards and guidelines. And the first thing I thought to myself was, oh, wow, okay, cool commercial, guys. But were you guys not doing this shit before? Before times? Was this not a priority? And here's the worst part, Mark, is that one of the commercials was for hand and stone massage. What the fuck, hand and stone? Okay, are you crazy? I don't know what you're talking. I hope of all places you guys didn't just start sanitizing shit now. This is not a new thing there, I hope, right, Mark? Because listen, everybody at home, when your Papa Rus goes to eat at a Wendy's at 137th and Columbus at 3 o'clock in the morning, okay, I am already assuming and accepting a certain level of, a certain lack thereof, a certain non-existence of sanitation or sanitizing of surfaces, right, Mark? I have clearly already made a series of questionable life choices that would have led me to eating at this Wendy's at 137th and Columbus at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? It's very clear, it's very obvious that sanitation is not one of my main concerns at the moment, right? Not in the first 100 days of this administration. Not worried about it, okay? But yes, however, when I go to a fucking hand and stone massage, And you've just given Grandpa Reuben and his Jew back and ass hairs a rub down, okay? I assume, yes, that you have firebomb sanitized that surface already. I assumed you were already doing this, Hand and Stone, and they're bragging about it, so I thought, wow, if Hand and Stone is bragging about it, I can't wait to see the next two ads, like, hey, South Jersey, it's me, your dentist office. You know, in these new challenging times, we said, fuck it. We're going to start sterilizing the equipment, right? Right? The next commercial is going to be like, hi, everybody. Here at Six Flags, in these new challenging times, we've decided to add seatbelts to our roller coasters. Right? These motherfuckers, at least they could be honest, okay, Mark? At least Hooters would have the integrity to come on and be like, hey, everybody, here at Hooters, things are worse than you could possibly imagine. You know? At least they would be honest. Yes, Hand and Stone, I expect as much integrity and honesty in advertising as I've come to expect from fucking Hooters, okay? Of which the non-sanitation of is actually the main draw. That's what I'm there for. But not your place, motherfuckers, okay? And before I leave you all here tonight with this QUARAN-BIT, this is something I want you to ponder when you're seeing these commercials about them bragging about how much they're sanitizing everything. I want you to ask yourself, who have they hired in this new economy to be in charge of the sanitizing of these surfaces, right? I hope they've hired the best of the best, Mark. I hope they've hired top men, okay? Because I will tell you this, audience at home, the worst day job I ever had during my comedian career, especially as a young comedian, was being a janitor at a gym at a JCC and a Philly sports club here in South Jersey, okay? It was the worst job of all time. And let me tell you something, I was not very good at it at all and didn't try hard in the least. Mostly I was getting fucking baked in my car, watching all the free cable and sports on the TVs, working out for free. This was my fucking gym membership, okay? All right? I was taking a nice hot shower. Okay, the only thing sanitized was me by the time I left, okay? I was trying so hard to either get fired or have enough money to finally fucking quit and move out of my parents' house and go back to New York full time, okay? So you gotta ask yourself, who's in charge of sanitizing all this stuff that they're bragging about, okay? Because I will tell you this, your Papa Russ from this janitor experience knows a thing or two about sanitizing surfaces like saunas and steam rooms, okay? Hand and Stone, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, all right? And I will tell you this, scrub as much as you want, America. You can never actually remove every single 89-year-old Jewish ass hair from a steam room surface. It's impossible. Scrub all you like, okay? You can't. And I will tell you, Mark, this is the worst moment of my life, but it was very impactful in my life and career. The worst moment of my life is I had scrubbed for more than 30 minutes in this steam room, and I had finally removed the last Jew ball, because it's like elderly Jews all day. You know, their balls dragging against the surface, all that. And I had finally removed the last of the Jew ass hairs, and I held it up to the light, and I said to myself, Russell, this Jew ass hair stormed the beach at Normandy. And I immediately quit that fucking job, left that night at 4:30 in the morning, told them the next day, not coming back, moved out of my parents' house, and lived on couches for the next 2 years. In New York. So ask yourself when you see a commercial about places bragging about how much they're sanitizing, who the fuck is in charge? Because I hope it's not young Russ, Mark. Because if it is, we're in for a fifth fucking wave.
We're done.
Brace yourselves. Careful what you wish for. Dr. Fauci, he don't have an answer for this, okay? Because if young Russ is in charge, all of us are dead. Contagion 2, written and directed by Steven Soderbergh, starring your boy, okay? So give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for season 3, episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE's QUARAN-BITS on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Lysol your shit. Go Birds. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're back with Season 3, Episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. And it's time for another edition of one of my favorite segments, Album of the Week, where I share with you my favorite comedian albums that you can listen to and stream on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your albums. And this week, ladies and gentlemen, Poppa Rus, early on in this show, forgot to record an interview with one of my favorite buddies and comedians, Mr. Marc Gerber, and his album, AVID INDOORSMAN, available on 800 Pound Gorilla Records, on Apple and Spotify and everywhere you get your comedy albums. And so I'm so glad he is joining us for a do-over tonight, because Poppa Rus cried his eyes out because I did not hit record. So tonight, I'm going to share one of my favorite clips that is actually animated from his album, AVID INDOORSMAN, and then we are going to join him for a conversation about the album and share some stories. So give it up for a clip. Indoorsman, Mr. Marc Gerber, ladies and gentlemen.
A big hypochondriac. You guys know what this is. This is when you're convinced that you're physically ill and your friends and your family are convinced that you're mentally ill. They opened up one of these walk-in clinics near my apartment. You guys know these walk-in clinics? And this is bad for a hypochondriac, you know? You know how you'll walk by the grocery store and think like, do I need anything? Maybe I'll just run in and check. I'll walk by this walk-in clinic and I'll be like, do I have anything?
Ladies and gentlemen, from his album, AVID INDOORSMAN, available on 800 Pound Gorilla Records and everywhere you get your comedy albums, please join us and welcome Mr. Marc Gerber, ladies and gentlemen.
Poppa Rus! Poppa Rus, so good. Poppa Rus, so good to be here, man. I miss you, brother.
Oh, I miss you, brother. You're looking good. You're living.
You
in
are
the
too, dude.
now.
I'm living in the country. Yeah, as you saw from that video, I had to get out of the city. I could not take March 2020 in Manhattan.
Right,
man.
you couldn't take March 2018. You were gone.
That's true. I had a joke that I've been preparing for this since February 2017.
That's right. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
One of your favorite jokes of mine is the sort of the other second half of that joke is when you once got out of the subway and you saw an ambulance in front of your apartment building and you thought to yourself, "Oh my God, I hope that's not for me." I love it. It's like one of my favorite songs or bits in the whole world.
Oh man, and it's so real. That's the scary part of all those jokes, is that they're so fucking real.
Well, no, and I have a question for you about that later. But what I wanted to say to you is, Marc, I love AVID INDOORSMAN. I think
Thank you, man.
Best titles of a comedy album ever. It totally fits the artist. I love the cover art. It looks like a Billy Joel album from the 70s. It's just so, I don't know, it looks like something you would have on your coffee table. It's just so wonderful.
Oh man, thank you so much. It actually is a Bob Dylan album. It is a parody of a Bob Dylan cover called "Bringing It All Back Home."
Oh, is that the cover? Oh, okay. Because like
Yeah.
I said, I couldn't remember the name of the Billy Joel album. I'll send it to you later. I'll figure it out.
Oh, but he has one like that too.
It reminded me of, yeah, but you know what? Anything that's very Jewy looking, I immediately think of you or me.
Jewy.
You know?
You were talking about the Jewish butt hairs.
That's right.
And you made me feel really bad because my girlfriend is the one that always cleans our shower,
Oh,
our bathroom. And
wow. No.
yeah, I see my black curly mean hairs in that room, and I feel terrible for her.
No, you gotta get those spray bubbles, or you gotta, maybe hire a few kids, in the neighborhood. Maybe they just, really put the elbow grease in, teach them responsibility. But it was the worst. Believe me when I tell you, the worst. I've had really bad restaurant jobs. None of the worst restaurant jobs even compares to the worst janitor job. So
I believe that, Poppa Rus. Poppa Rus, how come you got younger over quarantine?
Yeah,
Dude,
no, other people.
Dude, you could go into if you get a straight brim hat, you know, one of those straight brim like hats.
All my
You could
hats are
dead-
$59.50. Yeah.
Dude, and you shaved, you could dead ass go to high school and be a narc. Not that you'd ever be a narc, because
No,
you're quite the opposite of a narc.
I'm hoping to do a self tape for Degrassi, the next generation. So we're gonna move the family to Canada, and me and Drake's a teacher there now, but he's still in the wheelchair. I think it's gonna be really good television. So they're rebooting everything, Mark.
I can't wait to see it, dude. You should go back out to LA, man. You could friggin' make it now. I feel like
Let's do
acting.
it. No, it's a wonderful place to visit, but
Your wife might get pissed about you going back, but
yeah, no, listen, like I said, I want to go back for a few weeks.
I'm fine with it. Fine with it.
oh, that's cool. All right. Well, my girlfriend's still possessive. She's not gonna let me go. So you'll have to
no.
go just tell
Yeah,
me
well,
about it.
because you guys, yeah, we're like 17 years.
No, I get it. Believe me, she'll be happy when I go away in 20 years. You know.
She literally couldn't be more over it if she fucking tried. So okay, so
Dara, you came to one of our shows in Atlantic City Comedy Club. I believe you came to at least one.
that was
Right.
right.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
It was
we
your
met. I remember
birthday,
meeting
and
you.
we watched you perform and Eric perform, and I think Dan was there that night too. But we came
That was
to
awesome.
your birthday, and then we went dancing afterwards because it would turn into a nightclub afterwards. If you remember, they would be like,
Yes.
end the fucking show. We gotta fucking sell these fucking
Oh my God.
vodkas, you know, like my
Can-
friend Luke would say, slut Gatorade. So
Can you believe how pre-COVID that sounds? Like comedy show followed by nightclub in the same.
right, I was
Venue?
received out by like whenever I was on the floor of Kiss Kiss, I was like, there's nothing nothing about this surface that is okay for humans to step on. Like every time I stepped on it, I was like, I should have like David Harbour's fucking suit that he wears into the upside down when he goes looking for a fucking kid, you know, like, holy shit, Winona, can you believe this? So Mark, I wanted to get back to ask you
I'm
about
sorry.
your album. You know, I like it because I just miss you so much.
I know, I missed you, dude. We used
I
to
think
shoot
you
the shit
should
for
tell
like an
it.
hour
We had a
before
lot
every
of fun.
show.
Yeah, no. So in terms of the album, though, because I love all of your material, but I like people at home to know how some of these things come together when we're doing an album. So I wanted to know, in terms of the material that you featured on the album, what would you say is the oldest bit, and what was the newest bit on the album?
Okay, the oldest bit, man. I had some old goody oldies on there, man. I know what the newest bit is, so let me start there.
Okay.
The newest bit on the album was about how the first time I told my girlfriend that I loved her, I told her in baby voice. Because we were just baby voicing. You know, I was going to tell her at some point, you know, but you know how guys are. I was trying to wait as long as I could because I didn't want to reveal my inner self, you know. So we were just baby voicing, which we had been doing, and we were just like going back and forth, and I told her I loved her. But what occurred to me was that once you're talking in baby voice in a relationship, it's already implied that you love the person, right?
Boundaries are down.
Yeah, there's no baby voice in casual relationships,
Right.
right? No one's saying in baby voice, you know, like, I just want you to know this isn't going anywhere.
You silly Billy, it's not me, it's you.
I think we should see other babies. Just stuff not said in baby voice, you know?
The other baby.
But it is true. It is a true story, and it is a little humiliating that my first time telling her that was in baby voice.
Yeah.
And now I tell her everything in baby voice, though. Now that's our entire
What do you
relationship.
think? I don't know. Did you
Yeah.
watch another episode without me?
Exactly. We're still in the stage of the relationship where she doesn't want me to leave town, which is really nice. It's nice to be wanted.
Good. That's good. At least
is.
somebody's, you know, possessive of you. That's
True. Her and my mother are the only people possessive of me in the world.
What would you say is the oldest bit? Because you and I have known each other for a long time. So some of the bits I have seen you sort of refine all over time. So what would you say is the oldest one?
Shoosh, man, there are some old ones in there. There are some old bits in there. God, maybe Foodie Fucky.
Foodie
That's an old
Fucky.
one.
I have that in my next question. That's one of my favorite bits of all time.
that might be one of the oldest ones in there. You know, I guess the one. I don't know. There's just so much old stuff in there.
But I like that. I like that people understand that, like, when you hear an album, we are sort of we're either confident in this new bit enough to commit to it, or we're sort of giving this older bit sort of its due sometimes so we can put it on the shelf and maybe keep that on the album for now because we finally got it right. And
absolutely.
So I like people to sort of get a little bit of an inside look into that. And your album is really no exception because, like I said, we've known each other a long time. So I think that your album was a real culmination of just your absolute best. So one of the things I love about your stand-up, Mark, is every time I see you perform, you have a bit where I do say, "Oh my God, I fucking wish I wrote that," right?
And you know, as a stand-up comic, that's the best compliment you can get.
It is, and I mean it. Like the next morning, I've got to tell Dad I'm doing your set for Dad.
Oh man, that's so kind.
I was like, man, I should move to Louisiana and just do Mark shit.
That's hilarious, dude.
No, but
that's hilarious.
The two of us are alike, right? Because we're both
very alike.
You brought up Foodie Fucky. I love the animated bit.
We're kindred spirits. You know, the first time we met, I think we spoke 1 hour straight.
Yeah, no, it was really good. We're like, oh my God, like I have to go home.
Yeah.
I have a family.
Yeah. And we also both started comedy in like the early 2000s or you were late 90s, right? Or early 2000s.
I started in 1999 when I was 19.
Yeah, so I was like 2000, 2001. Even though I don't know if we met in that first, because you went out to LA quick, right?
Sort of quick, but you and I met at Kenny's Castaway before I think I moved to LA because I think we did those shows together.
I think we did. I'm sorry I'm interjecting all this. I just miss you, Russ.
Oh no, I miss you too, and I like that. So I was going to ask you about your act, and we are kindred spirits in that way. Were you always as open about these parts of your personality in your act, or did you grow into that?
Well, you know, it's funny because I was talking to my girlfriend about that earlier tonight, how like when you start your goal, you just want to get a laugh. You really don't care if it's insightful or if it's, you know, truthful to who you are. To some degree you do, of course, but you know, when you really first start, you're like, can I go up there and just get a few laughs? So when I went up there, I initially I think I was just doing the jokes did not have great depth. I was not really revealing who I was on any deep level when I first started. And yeah, I think I grew more comfortable doing that, you know, and being more personal, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely was always, at first there was definitely, I had walls, it was a character. I would say 19-year-old Russ was writing George Carlin jokes, but they were just different words. And I was even doing his voice. And it was like, you're 19 and you look 12.
Well, look, when Bob Dylan started, he copied Woody Guthrie, then he found his own voice.
Yeah, you know, I think we all do that. And I just never wanted to show, I was always uncomfortable showing some of the nerdiness and some of the allergies and the weaknesses I had. But then I found out that was actually on stage. It was actually my greatest strength. And I think that it's what I think draws people to you on stage, because even one time I was like, look at Mark, he's so put together with the flannel shirt. You had those cool like sneaker boot shoes things.
Oh yeah, you remember? Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and you were so perfectly put together, but definitely falling apart as a person. And I think that was, you know, that's that hook. That's where the audience is like, I love this guy. I love this. I love his shoes, but I love that this guy is a mess.
That's amazing. That's such a great observation and such a great way of putting it.
And it's brave. And again, I love when you have that handout and you just have that one handout, because when you're doing a show, the way to warm up the staff for me is I imitate who's ever on the show that night during sound check. So when I do Mark Gerber, I would have that handout. And when you're in the zone and you're lining up a punchline, it's so great, because I know what's coming a lot of the time. And these people have no idea how hard they're about to get hit.
Oh, man, thanks.
Speaking of which, Mark, I really love the animated clip that we showed at the beginning here, which is taken from the album. So I was just curious, because it's very different for a comedian to do something like that, especially with that and the way you use it on social media. So I was curious how that animated bit came together and who the animator was.
So my record label, 800 Pound Gorilla, they'll do one promotional video for your album.
Okay.
And they did this initial one that was so bad. I mean, it looked like a 1983 commercial that comes on at like 3 in the morning.
Right.
You know, it looked like a 1980s infomercial. It was just
Maury's wig and Goodfellas.
really bad. I'm not afraid to say this because what they ended up with. So I said, you know, I'm not really satisfied with this. Yeah, Maury's wig, exactly.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not really satisfied with this. It just really doesn't capture. And I said, I'd like to do something animated. And what's funny is that, you know, I know you're into animation. I've never really been into animation. So, but I said I was. I was like, listen, I love animation because I just wanted yeah, I just wanted them to do something different. And they gave me this thing back, and it was fantastic. And I'm so happy with it. It's so cool. And I emailed them and tried to find out who the artist was because I wanted to pay out of pocket and hire him to do more, you know, out of my own pocket. But they haven't gotten back to me, so I don't know if they just don't like contracting him out or whatever. So I actually don't know who the artist is. I don't know, but I know
whoever you are, it was fucking great. You know, like it was great. And to me, your album, there are a lot of comedians who I think, you know, you could animate. And one of my favorite shows on HBO ever was they took the Ricky Gervais podcast.
Oh, I love Ricky Gervais.
And they animated the whole podcast that him and Stephen Merchant and Carl Pinkelton did.
That's so cool.
It was like the coolest thing. So when I saw your clip, I was like, somebody do all of Mark's album like that. So, and to know, I assumed that maybe that was something you were into. So that's very cool and I love the fake it till you make it, baby. Like, I love animation. Love it.
I was like, I really want animation because I knew they weren't going to do another of the same thing. And I was like, you know what, let's get something animated. And it just came back so interesting, you know.
It really stood out. It really
cool about it.
See everybody's got like, you know, that certain kind of promo video. And to me, it was just like, whoa, Gerber came with the thunder.
And I did know that I do know that they asked me to send them photos of me. So they made that character off a photograph.
Oh, okay. That's very cool. That's very cool to know, too. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. So make sure you check out that animated clip on Mark's social media, which is Photo She Didn't.
Photo No She Didn't.
Photo No She Didn't.
Photo No She Didn't. That's my Instagram, yes,
At
please.
Photo No She Didn't. Okay, so now, Mark, unlike me, and I love telling a comic story a little bit so people know a little bit the background of the comic, because as we get to work together, we get to know these things about the person, and a lot of the times I find the real story of the comedian even more fascinating than the material that draws me in, and I've been lucky enough to even, like, you know, like I said, get to know you. So unlike me and other comics who barely got through high school and squandered their college experience to do dick jokes, you, on the other hand, went from getting your GED in high school to getting a fucking PhD in psychology at NYU, my wife's alma mater. Whoop, whoop. Okay, and amazingly,
fighting violence.
While doing stand-up this whole time, you have been a school counselor for K through 12. That is absolutely incredible. You are contributing to society, a feeling I have never known. So, since you are such a smarty pants know-it-all, I thought maybe you'd like to take a try at diagnosing me.
Oh, man. You know, I could lose my license for diagnosing you on live video, you know? I just don't want to take the risk, but...
There are a limit on how long this recording goes.
I think you have a chronic case of being a total cutie pie.
Oh, thank you. This is the greatest diagnosis I've ever gotten. Usually they're like, Russell, do you like cheese? Well, guess what? No cheese for you, buddy.
That's hilarious.
Oh, Darren, did you hear that? I have a very malignant case of being a cutie pie.
I was like, yeah, right, whatever.
Yeah.
You fucking.
But here's the thing.
More like narcissistic personality disorder.
Maybe. Look, we all do. We're all sprinkled with the dust as comics, Dara. You know that.
Yeah, that's right. There's got to be a certain level of that.
But
also,
I'm lucky.
You said I looked young earlier, so you're just feeding the beast.
I'm also lucky enough to to know the Russ that's kind, that likes me. So, you know, I've never seen the dark side of Russ, and I know it's there because, first of all, one of the things I admire about you is that you're unpretentious. You are going to judge somebody by their character and their act. You're not going to judge them by their status in comedy or how many times they've been on late night. If someone's an asshole, you call them on it. They know, you know, you're not just gonna take their shit. And me coming when we first met, you know, I didn't have any credits. Nobody knew me, but you respected me as a person, and you respected my act, and you made it known. And you know, there's not a lot of people in comedy like that at your level who produce and who do all this stuff. People are so impressed by credits, so impressed by people's background, and it's this hierarchy that you don't acknowledge, and I love that about you. So I guess what I'm saying is, if I was one of the comics you didn't like, maybe I'd have a different.
Yeah. Well, you know, even then, you know, I try to be, you know, whenever I can, as long as I can, I try to be. But thank you, Mark. That really means a lot to me. And you know, for me, you gotta, you know, it's just like sports. Like, what are you doing right now in this game? I see that you got a first down, but then you the ball, asshole. So like I need you to be your best in the room right now, because none of these people know us, and
that wasn't an easy room. That was not an easy room.
Oh no, we're elevated in the sky on a hooker pirate plank, right? You know, you know, and all these things. It had everything working against it. Same thing in Philly. But Mark, one of the things to thank you very much. Again, you caught me off guard. Thank you very much. And I
totally genuine.
I'm, you know, and I would say, and I've said this before, a lot of the times, some people, you know, my musical theater, like, I'm always like, hey guys, we got a show. Like, it's like the Muppet Show for me. Like, we got a show, guys.
But you are the tough Philly version of that, though. You're not like the Midwest, you know, corny version.
Right. No,
you still have an edge. You still have an edge.
Then when you see me climb you. But to me,
you're the guy in musical theater that everybody kind of still knows is straight.
Yeah, thank you. There was 8 of us in my graduating class, and so, but for me, it's like we got 90 minutes. We got 90 minutes, and these people, we're never going to be in these 90 minutes again. So let's try to thank you, Mark, because I do. It's like you gotta, you know, and it's on stage and off stage. The way you gotta walk in, like the way that you treat the staff, the way that you and look at you. You know, you walked in, you were professional, you're on time. You're not dressed in sweatpants. Like,
on time, despite having to drive Newman, who needs to stop for a toothbrush every 5 minutes.
So many needs. I mean, you guys, Dan, you were always like, Eric, is Eric okay? We're like, we got to get Eric some food.
Eric, you're funny, but you're not that funny, all right? You're not funny enough to put up with all this shit.
And then Eric will be worried about 16 things, and it'll be like, I'm going to the bodega. Do you need anything? And it's like, I don't want to add to the list, Eric.
He's so
it feels like you got a lot on your plate.
He's so oblivious. We once almost sent him out to a bodega in Atlantic City by himself on foot. No. Like, we did. We ended up not letting him go, but he's so oblivious. He had no idea what he was in for.
Yeah, you got to nix that plan. I don't even know how that plan even got past the brainstorming stage.
We were just fucking with him.
So this is great. That actually leads us, thank you, Mark, for that. So that leads us into our last question here on Album of the Week on Season 3, Episode 4 of the RUS GUTIN Experience. And Mark Gerber is joining us talking about his album, AVID IndoorSMAN. But it's story time here for our last question. We were just talking about our adventures in Atlantic City. And you and I have performed there a lot together over the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
But one night in particular, you and I were, I was hosting, you were featuring for the very great Mr. Nico White, who just joined us again on Season 3 for his new Dark Out, which is really incredible. Also,
love Nico.
Studio, yeah, we love Nico.
Another real gentleman in comedy.
Man, just God, he's so, you know, it's like me. At first, you're like, same thing. I had the same reaction that people have to me, which is, this guy is being so nice. What does he want? But it's actually genuine and
sincere.
It's real, and it's sincere. And then he gets on stage and brings it. And that particular night that you and I were together with Nico, what turned out to be kind of the greatest crowd night.
Oh man, that was wild.
Ever that we ever did there, and pretty much I would say top 3 nights of comedy I have ever personally been involved in, and I had no idea it was coming. Even firing off the confetti cannons at the end.
Yes.
There is a famous picture that you took over my shoulder that is in my office that I'm looking
at. Oh, you printed that? That's great.
Right now of my, and I remember saying to you, like, somebody's got to get a picture of this. And
I documented that. I got the video too with We Are the Champions in the background.
Yes, you did. You got the video. So I was always curious. It's a 2-part question. I always wanted to know a little bit about your point of view of that wonderful epic night, and also sub question: who is the best showrunner you've ever worked with? And
oh man, I gotta think about the
but
second
you
one.
you already answered it. But why is it me?
I gotta think about that one. But that night was epic, man. I remember Nico saying that night, and you know, Nico performs like 3 times a night, every night, and he's been performing since he's 16. He started even younger than us.
Yeah.
And he said that, I don't know if you had talked to him about that show on your show before.
We did a little bit, yeah.
He said that night, and I don't know if this still holds true, that was the best show he's ever had in his life, his career, up to that point.
Okay, wow, that's confirmation, because he did say, you know, something to that effect. I mean,
he told me at that night, we went for a cigar after. I don't smoke cigars, but Nico does, so he took me for one. Wow. He told me that was the best show of his career, hands down.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And for me, look, the nights when, you know, everybody's there just for you, recording your album, headlining Caroline's, when everyone's there just for you, there's something magical about that, because, like, the crowd is just on your side from when you walk on the stage, you know? But for a crowd where nobody knows you, and it's one of the tougher rooms in the tri-state area,
or ever,
it might be. Listen, you've been around more than me. You know, I took the 8 years off between 2000, but so I probably have 10 years cumulative. But yeah, I mean, that was a tough freaking room, man. For such a room that you never know what's going to happen, that was friggin' an amazing night.
No,
wow. We couldn't believe it. They were slapping us 5 when we came off stage.
I mean, people tipped me. People were getting
wow.
And standing up. I mean, I did the birthday rap too. So, you know, those people literally were like Goodfellas. They were like, we love you. People taking pictures. They named it. This is true. A couple was pregnant with twins. They named them Mark and Nico. So.
Oh my God! How did you get left off?
Yeah, no. Well, I got the baby announcement, and actually, I sang at the bris.
Oh, okay. You're the Papa Rus. You're the Papa Rus.
Which you don't usually expect at a bris. He's so Christian. But you know, I if you pay me and you ask me to sing, there I'm gonna be.
That's amazing.
So, that is amazing. That is really great.
Everything was there that night. It was magic, you know, and you can't. That's one of the things about stand-up. There's so many factors. You'll never be able to know what it was. You know, were you on your A game? Was the crowd, you know, something about the way that they were? You just never know. There's too many factors to ever really pin it down.
And we've seen that room go sideways enough times that
we've
seen that it was the best crowd. It was just like the best people. It was the best mix of ages, race, creed. It was really incredible.
I believe it was packed, right? It was a full night too.
It was absolutely. Again, I've never seen it so full. And I remember Daniel, you know, the one who was he was in the Marines, you know, the manager.
Yes.
Who again would love it when an audience member needed to be thrown out, and he would wait until I had to fucking do it, and then he would help because he got entertainment out of it, asshole. But he said, he goes, "Yo, Russ, you want to set off the cannons?" I was like, he goes, "This is crazy." I was like, "Really?" He goes, "As long as you sweep it up after." And I said, "Okay, I'll sweep it up." So I actually swept up after and all those things. So I love you sharing that. And I just want you to know that magical moment is there every day. And it's there not just, you know, not just for positive, you know, blah, blah, blah reasons, but it's also there for those moments when you're like, you know, oh, what am I doing today? Or, oh, I got to do like 28 emails and cut this stuff. You're just like, okay. But you had to, you know, you sort of remember the work. And again, we didn't plan for that night to be that way. That was just like a night at the saloon for us, you know. So
one of 4 shows that weekend.
Yeah, no, it was great. Like I said, it was just that one magical, like, New Hope, the Luke Skywalker. It goes into the.
Now, do you think we'll ever be able to recreate that?
I do. I do. I think that in the new world, I think that the kind of things that I'm trying to put together for Philly and the things that I hope we can reach in Atlantic City with the theater and the smaller room, I think we can get there, because I think people in the new world are going to be very, very hungry for stand-up. I think,
and appreciating live entertainment.
Yeah, and I think that we're already in a position where, you know, we're providing people with laughter and all those things, but there's going to be an extra added element. We've all gone through these big life experiences, so I think that talking about it is going to be very cathartic for the audience and the artists. And when something is cathartic for both, that's when you know, that's when the 2-drink minimum is just a suggestion. That's when everyone leaves happy. The audience, the artist, the bartender, like, you know, like I said, is like, oh my God, they're making it rain. So, and then we go to the diner after and all those things. So I do think that we're on our way to it. I miss it very much. I love just talking to you about it, and I'm actually like just getting excited. I was like, oh shit, we're gonna be back, baby.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And yes, you are the #1 producer and host. I mean, listen, man, you did both in the toughest room in the tri-state area. Or you say anywhere, and that you might be right. For many years, and
well, you can see now. You see, I de-aged the second it stopped. You know.
I know.
It's like I'm having a Benjamin Buttons situation.
Dude, I'm serious. I'm serious.
I love you in a baby voice. I love you, Mark. I love you.
We could start a boy band in our 40s, man. That's pretty crazy.
Well, first of all, you had me at let's start a boy band, and
that is all about it.
All I ever wanted. It's all I ever needed. Yeah. Speaking of which, yeah. So we talk about New Kids on the Block during our next segment. So,
awesome.
So that's
I'd be in the front row. I love.
Daryl, be right
they
there.
call each other the Jubus.
That's right.
The Jubus could be the whole thing.
Oh, we'd have to pay out Naomi. Yeah, I saw you saw my post. I got my.
Well, Andy could be in the
t-shirt.
group too.
Yeah, you need a Jubu t-shirt. Your girlfriend needs to get you a Jubu t-shirt, Mark.
I need one. Where can I get it?
I'll send you the link. It's from Couples Therapy Podcast, Naomi Ekberg and Andy Beckerman.
Just don't send me a Randall Cunningham jersey by accident.
Okay, I won't. The one in my queue. This is true. Dara, cover your ears, earmuffs. The one in my queue is the Hall of Fame edition.
Wow.
120. And listen, I'm hoping some of that stimmy, you know.
Oh, hell yeah.
Stimmy, you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah,
hey,
bro.
Dara, we're back. And I am not buying a Hall of Fame Randall Cunningham jersey. That is embroidered.
No, you're not.
No.
Your stimulus is spent, buddy.
No, my stimulus, I never even saw it.
Oh, man.
It was there for like 2 seconds, Mark. It was like, your account is updated. Your account has updated.
Oh, man. Man, it was a semi-stim.
Yeah, I had a
semi-stim.
Semi-stim, bro. I had a semi-stim, bro. She's giving me a semi-stim. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my guest, Marc Gerber, tonight.
Thank you so much, Russ.
You go and listen and stream and buy his album, Avid IndoorSman, available on 800 Pound Gorilla Records, everywhere you get your comedy albums. And thank you, Mark. I love you so much.
Love you too, brother.
We appreciate it. And we really appreciate you joining us, even though I forgot to record the first time.
I thought you were going to say I forgot to record
This is
again.
the Zack Snyder's Justice League of Album of the Week interviews for our
That's hilarious.
You know?
I think we did better the second time anyway, so it's great.
I do. I think
it worked out.
You know, it's very Lord of the Rings. It's like it can be reforged, you know. Like so we did it, and I appreciate it. So thank you everybody for joining us on season 3, episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Stop Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Russ. That was awesome. See you soon.
Love you, brother.
Love you, dude.
Welcome back, everybody, to Season 3, Episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Stop Media's RUS GUTIN EXPERIENCE on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. And it's time for Part 2 of our special edition of Rustle Around the Interwebs, Graphics Explosions, Part 2 of my interview with young Vince McMahon on Young Rock and the host of About Last Night podcast, Mr. Adam Ray, is going to join us for part 2 of his pre-recorded interview. First, I'm going to play another clip from his album, Read the Room, entitled Disneyland Edible Nightmare. You guys are going to love it. And then I'm going to interview Adam all about whether or not on his podcast he gets intimidated doing bits with legends like Dana Carvey, He tells us a bunch of funny stories about opening for the New Kids on the Block on the New Kids on the Block cruise. And then at the end, as an homage to the games that he plays on his podcast, we are going to do our own impression game version of the Golden Globe Zoom call gone to shit. And I'll be doing characters like Al Pacino and Sir Ian McKellen. He'll be doing characters like Robert Downey Jr. and Dr. Phil. You guys are gonna love it. So right now, enjoy a clip from Adam's album Read the Room, and then he'll join us for part 2.
To smoke blunts, joints, right? Makes me feel like Snoop Dogg. Can't do edibles anymore. Swore those off. Last time I had an edible, I had 3 pop brownies, went to Disneyland, and convinced Winnie the Pooh to break character so that he could take me to a first aid station because I was having a panic attack. Yeah, true story. Hey, public freak out in your 30s, table for 1. I can only imagine what it looked like to ongoing children. First time at Disneyland, just seeing a grown man flexing on Pooh in broad daylight, like, you gotta help me, man, my heart's gonna pop out of my fucking chest! Losing my mind. I was terrified on many levels. And then I started getting flooded with all these flashbacks, because then I remembered, oh shit, my folks took my sister and I to Disneyland when we were 6 for like a Save the Marriage trip, right? And, yeah, spoiler alert, didn't work. And, but I remembered getting lost that day at 6 and getting the sweet help from Winnie the Pooh again, who I'm now facing down with 30 years later. So I'm just like, dude, Pooh, you helped me 30 years ago. Now you're gonna bail on me when I'm having a fucking heart attack. And this motherfucker in the suit, which I know was not a real guy because I played Wolverine at Universal Studios. So I'm like, which shouldn't be the only reason you know that somebody's not the real Winnie the Pooh. I used to play a character too. I know you're probably Kevin from Detroit in there, But I was like, dude, break the 4th wall. I need some fucking help. And this guy would not break the character code of conduct. He looked right at me and was like, like, I don't know what to tell you. That's Christopher Robin, So now I'm freaking out. And people have seen me freak out. So then you get extra self-conscious, right? Pooh walks away, and then you have to just like stand there by yourself, like, yeah, I'm fine, People are like, you cool? You're like, are you cool? Then I had to break away and get indoors. So I went to Splash Mountain. Not before I was reunited. Yeah, not before I was reunited with my buddy who I went to the park with. We had gotten separated, right? So I was lost for a second time. Again, freaking out with just Pooh to come to my rescue. He fucking failed on that mission. Then I see my buddy. It was like we were, like remember at the end of Titanic when people were like saw each other, like, I thought you drowned. Like that's how it was. When I saw him, I was like, I thought you were dead. He's like, where the fuck were you? I was like, I fucking got a pizza and then I found Pooh and I'm free. I had a heart attack in front of a kid. It's a long story, And then we got on Splash Mountain and we started to chill out for a little bit because, there's some tranquil moments. You sit around, you just, get in a log, you just kind of coast down a river, right? Zippity-doo down, zippity-yay. And we start singing along. We're like, we're fucking back. Thank God we didn't die today, And then panic started to resettle in when all these robotic animals started popping out of nowhere every 12 to 16 seconds. Hey, Walt, too many animatronics. Yeah. It's my one piece of feedback. Just all these animals just me, maybe I'm real. Right, just staring at you way too long into your soul. I knew we were too big because at the top of Splash Mountain was an owl, and he looks right at my buddy and I and goes, me. Woo! And my buddy starts nudging me. He's like, dude, Adam, that owl just called you a Jew. We got to get out of here. This place is haunted, man. How do you know? That was cool. I'll give you that. Because, man, I've had some insane nightmares. I still fuck with NyQuil. I don't know why. Probably because the slogan, commercial, they make it seem so carefree. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, stuff you had fever so you can rest medicine. Like, oh, that sounds great. I'd love to rest. And NyQuil's like, yeah, you can definitely rest after you hallucinate for 45 minutes. Get ready to see your dead grandpa on a seesaw in France. NyQuil.
All right, Rusty, we're back.
wow.
All right, let's do it, baby.
Okay, I'm going to call it part 2, and then we're just going to dive right back in.
Let's do it.
Dara and the fam are home right now, but everybody
Great.
can't believe that I already talked to Swiftwind. Okay?
Oh, my God.
Welcome back to Season 3, Episode 3 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. It's part 2 of my interview with Adam Ray on Russell Around the Interwebs. We've already talked about a bunch of awesome stuff, and I can't believe he's still joining us. But Adam, I have 3 more questions for you. Ready? 2 are questions, 1 is a little game at the end, okay?
Let's do
Ready?
it.
Here we go. The first one, and if you see me reading it, it's only because my eyesight is terrible.
Oh, no.
Your podcast about last night is one of my favorite podcasts of all time and one of the biggest comedy podcasts there is. The list of guests is epic. Comedians, actors, even athletes, including Dana Carvey, Sean Kemp, Joel McHale, LeVar Burton, fucking Geordi from Star Trek. One time I saw him eating pancakes near my apartment on Wilcox, and I said, Geordi's eating pancakes on Earth. Also, Henry Winkler, Jeff Garland, Fortune Feimster, Andrew Santino, Ron Funches, Chuck Liddell, and if you look down the list very closely in the fine print, also me for some reason.
Yeah.
Did all of comedy call out sick that day? Who knows?
Yeah.
Only time will tell. But this is my question for you, Adam, comic to comic. When you are doing a bit with a legend like Dana Carvey, like I saw you doing the Aliens with Garth the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Is it intimidating?
Yeah, always, because
Wow.
Dana's a legend. But I think, you get to a point to where you everything you do, preps you for what you're about to do. And I'd also been around Dana enough since then with the podcast, him come over to my place, getting coffee, me going to his place when we were trying to flush out a church lady cartoon, which is not totally dead. So fingers crossed for that. But
prayers up.
but enough of camaraderie and friendship and back and forth. But it took me a minute to, even on the podcast, get comfortable joking with him and get comfortable doing voices and impressions to him, because I just was so, for the longest time, like, bow down, like, that's your world. I do stupid voices. You're the true pro. And then you just get comfy enough to where you're like, all right, we got similar sensibilities. I want to make him laugh. And we, from phone calls to texting jokes and call me for podcast advice and stuff. You just get comfy enough to where he's still always Dana Carvey. I'm still, when I see him call, I get giddy.
Yeah,
But,
okay, good. Because wow. I mean, I rode my bike to see Wayne's World.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, so that was, but he's also so generous and so down. And I think, it helped that I got to a point to where I was trusting more in myself to be funny and to show him what I can do. And I think if you don't do that at some point, then they are just always like, oh, cool, you're just somebody on this show that I'm chatting with. So he only, I think, said yes to doing like my Dr. Phil live show or the virtual show we did that raised money for the food bank, and is down to play because he now knows what I'm capable of and thinks I'm, somewhat funny enough to play with. That's why he he'd driven he drove straight from San Fran, and logged right on and was super tired, but was all game. And I knew that I was like, he's not going to be put off by saying, hey, we're going to do a thing where it's, Tony Danza and Garth or whoever it was.
Right. No, I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, it was just like, for me, I mean, obviously just seeing you run with the fucking bulls, like that. I mean, it's just so incredible, because what is bigger in your mind from when we grew up than Dana Carvey? I mean, who's bigger than that? So I'm just always so endlessly impressed and proud of you when you're doing that, because it's just incredible. I mean, you just are fearless, and it's nice to hear you say that, because your answer actually surprises me, and that's great, because I'm nervous even talking to you now.
Shut up.
Okay,
You
so
bitch.
now listen, speaking of which, you have performed with some of the most amazing acts all over the world. You've performed with Adam Devine in Australia, for example. But I feel that one of the craziest things that you've done is that you opened for the New Kids on the Block
Oh yeah.
on the New Kids Cruise. So this question
Twice.
is also for my wife. That's right. So we are very curious what it is like to be at sea with Joey, Donnie, and a ship full of super fans.
I mean, the blockheads are crazy. They've adopted me as one of their own. That cruise ship is 2,500, 3,000 drunk gals in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
Wow.
There was a 70-year-old gal that I was taking shots of tequila with one night at like 3 in the morning on the front deck. Like, she's like, She's like, can you tell? She's like, tell you what. She goes, if you show me where Donnie's room is, I'll fuck him for you. I was like, have you ever negotiated in your life? What do I get out of this? And
you gotta open with more than you think you're gonna get.
Yeah. And I mean, no judgment. I mean, these people were diehard fans. Some were just like, oh, this experience sounds fun. I've heard of it. It's a cruise. It's being around the energy of people that are just all about a group that's still rocking. And they're so giving to the fans. They put on a lot of show. It's also, I don't know how other concert cruises are. I've heard there's some that are less, there's less engagement because really the whole day there's picture things. There's shows in the afternoon. There's the concerts at night. There's the dance party after the concert. I mean, it's like they give a full.
Sarah, are you listening? Worth. Okay.
You get your money's worth. And then me being on there added some comedy, some stand up, and then Joey and I did these. He had a thing called Duets at Dusk, where the first time they had people that could win a contest to sing a duet with Joey, and then I asked them, I go, let me do one. And so I wrote a song about my experience on the concert. I think it's on YouTube if you just type in Adam Ray New Kids Cruise, and their keyboard player Rob Lewis, who also plays for Christina Aguilera and Backstreet Boys, gangster Rob Lewis. And so I was like, hey, I wrote a little goofy song. Can you say something, just a cappella? And he's like, for sure. So we did that. And then the next year, Joey and I did a whole sketch where I was a girl super fan, and then we made up lyrics to the Rent song, 525,600 minutes. And then it ended with me dropping to my knees. That's also on YouTube, trying to blow Joe. And then they have their security guard, Vic, come out of just a fucking tank of a dude, run off to the side and grab me and body slam me to the ground and then drag me off stage. Dude, it's unbelievable. Like, and I go, he goes, how hard do you want me to hit me? I go, dude, I mean, go for it. Obviously, I'll try to turn a little bit so that you don't completely take me out. But and then he drags me off stage, and it's like, I mean, it was standing.
Don't crack a rib,
Yeah. I was like, but for the sake of comedy, maybe crack a rib. I got
whatever
10
it
ribs,
takes.
I think. I don't know. Yeah.
No, that is incredible. I was always
fun.
curious, like, if you're ever in the mini bar on the New Kids cruise and you look inside of it, is there an Oreos? Are they an extra charge? That's where my Jew head goes about.
You stayed up all night just to write that joke, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it took me 7 hours, and the kids that wrote it for me, I've already tased them, within an inch of their lives.
I've already tased them.
They'll never talk back again, I'll tell you that.
There are a lot of new kid play on word themed beverages and foods, and but honestly, man, like, it was a blast. I found out what truly, between that and going on the road with Adam Devine, truly finding out what my liver is capable of holding, because Adam's this Midwest, I've been drinking since I was 12, Omaha, Nebraska kid. And so, I'd be done at 2 or 3, and he's just like, dude, you got to drink these beers that these fans gave to me that I can't drink. And I'm like,
let's go.
I am already asleep in my mind right now, standing up.
Get the runoff.
But then, we go to these certain places and cities, and, in Australia, we went to the Foo Fighters Weezer show because Adam knew the manager for Foo Fighters because he did a Blink-182 music video, and he was the same manager. So we partied with them after, and then they came to Foo Fighters came to our show the next night. So you're just like, you get caught up in it, and you're like, and look, I've definitely slowed down now within reason, but it's just a very YOLO.
Circumstances notwithstanding, as they say.
I think if you got to find that balance of YOLO and FOMO, right? Where
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like,
Well, one time I got to see you during an ice storm at the Tower Theater in Philadelphia, open for Adam Devine. And
Right.
what was so cool about it is I drove you guys back to the hotel. It was a Juba. And he was next to my son's car seat in the middle in my piece of shit Ford Focus.
No, they love that joke, by the way. Kyle Walsh, Adam's best bud and assistant, still quotes your
What?
You're in the Juba. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the Juba now.
Oh, they loved you, yeah.
Yeah, well, I always said, Adam, did you ever think that you would be next to my son's car seat here in my Ford Focus? Especially with the potholes in Philly. My car wasn't built for it. But I told you where every famous person was shot or overdosed on your way to the hotel. It
was a great tour.
Yeah, it was a great tour.
Yeah. It was a little dark, but yeah.
No, it's incredible. And also, shout out, that makes my day, makes my year maybe. And Adam was awesome on Green Eggs and Ham, another show that we really enjoyed. And shout out to your Ninja Turtles picture in the background from the original 90s movie when they go to the farmhouse. So this is the last one, and then I'm going to let you go. You have an amazing gig tonight, I believe, with some incredible names. Are you on the gig with Melissa Villaseñor and Santino?
It's who is it? It's me, Melissa, Steve-O, Santino, Jeff Ross, and I believe Theo Vaughn, and Papa
Incredible,
Francis.
absolutely incredible, and all people that are incredible at what they do. And shout out especially to Melissa and Andrew and all the old days of the Belly Room. So the last one is on your podcast. You like to play games with impressions. I know I played one on the one episode that I was on that, like I said, all of comedy called out sick. And there I was on that same list with all those amazing people. So thank you, Adam. Yeah, no, I will shove it in someone's face. I'll be like, I was absolutely supposed to be there. So this is what I wanted to play with you. I have one or two prepared, but it's celebrities on the Golden Globe Zoom call. So I will go first if it makes you feel better. Sound good? I think that sounds fair. I'll go first. I'll do Al Pacino being startled awake, and then you go, and then I'll go. Sound good?
Great.
Okay. Hooah! Sean Penn! What? Hello? Go! I want to thank the Hollywood Foreign Press for letting me get revenge on the Nazis. What? I love football. I got a huge ass. I love that girl that played Billie Holiday. Don't tell your mother.
Oh my God. There's no point in me even going. How am I supposed to top that? A, your Pacino's amazing. B,
whoa,
go when he wakes up. Oh my God. He says go to himself to start it up.
Whoa.
Dude, so good, man. Did not know you had that in the chamber. All right.
Now for best unicorn in an animated series, Swiftwind from She-Ra.
Pacino. She-Ra. For the honor of Grayskull. Where are we? Hi, it's Swiftwind. Thank you for this honor. What an incredible award. But being a Pegasus unicorn, whatever the fuck I am, it's a huge honor. I want to thank the Academy and, of course, the Princess of Power, She-Ra herself. And the entire people at Netflix for giving me an opportunity. And, of course, Granny Smith for giving me something to munch on. No pun intended.
Oh, thank you. Okay, now we go to Sir Ian McKellen, who's going to join us on the Zoom call. Hello. I wasn't sure that I had hit the link correctly. And believe me, I would not do a Zoom call unless I had no other choice. I am also, Adam, admittedly waiting for my Postmates order. And I was just saying to Sir Patrick the other day that I had not been eating the best during the quarantine. And I said to Sir Patrick, I said, if I eat another burger, I am going to turn into one. I want to thank the Hollywood Foreign Press for having me. And,
Well, you know, and I will tell you one reason why you're falling asleep. Okay, and that's because most people don't get enough rest. They don't eat properly. If you're having burgers for breakfast and breakfast for dinner, then you're doing something wrong, and you're not treating yourself with the respect that you deserve. Look, we all grew up without pegs on our bike, but that doesn't mean we can't scissor a stranger off of Craigslist for a dare in 1998 just to get into that rollerblading tournament. We'll be right back.
Listen, I do not know how Dr. Phil has found himself onto this Zoom call, but I assure you, he is hung as the person that played young Ian McKellen. That's Michael Fassbender, and he's got a wang the size of a Balrog, I assure you. So, and that's
when I hear, I'm sorry, but when I hear you say something like Bender, I think of like back in the day when I was shooting Chaplin. I think, okay, so a Bender is obviously you're doing coke, you're doing meth, you're doing crack, you're doing heroin, but there's obviously so many things to do. Like there's so many things to watch, obviously on Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. There's so many things. Disney Plus. Now Paramount Plus is a thing, but like, so I'm still actually pulling up things on YouTube. I watch Soldier coming home early crying videos. I watch silly cat videos. I watch myself having Benders outside of cheesecake factories. Look, there's so many things on that menu. It's like overwhelming. It gives me anxiety. I take a Xanax. I take a Plan B. I take some Tylenol PM. I take a Flintstones vitamin. Yabba dabba do. Fuck you.
Hi. This is Joel Embid on the Golden Globes. I just want to say I'm the best defender in the league. And Frances McDermott, she can't saw me in the paint. Technical foul on Frances McDermott.
Hey guys, Rachel Ray here, and if you've made a bolognese in under 10 minutes, you did it. Congrats.
Wow, I didn't know Rachel Ray was a chain smoker.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Adam Ray and Russ Gutin doing Celebrities on the Golden Globe Zoom call.
So
Holy
great.
shit, Adam, we did it. You are
did
an
it.
absolute mensch and a prince. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Season 3, Episode 3 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's The Russ Gutin Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Get Adam's album, Read the Room, on YouTube and everywhere you get your comedy albums. See him as young Vince McMahon on NBC's Young Rock, and subscribe to his podcast About Last Night. Thank you, Adam, for joining us.
I love you, Russie. Thanks for having me, bud. You
I
better
love
have a
you,
third.
buddy.
Better have a third cardboard cutout for the next time.
No, they
we
didn't do
this.
one for the Wells Fargo Center. They didn't do one for the Sixers and the Flyers. I assure you, I would have gotten one.
No, I'm talking about we need you. I don't know what's the third wardrobe we need you in. Maybe
Okay.
didn't you dress up? Didn't you dress up for Halloween as some sort of character for your?
Okay. You know
Your
what?
kiddos?
I'm seeing it right now. Here we go. All right. I am going to dress myself up as Elsa from Frozen 2, but adventure Elsa. Like when, they're in the forest and there's lots of intrigue and suspense. Because I feel like that dress and that corset is going to bring out sort of my figure and maybe sort of my... You haven't pointed it out yet, but let's face it, Adam. I'm very good looking for 42. You can use the words youthful, ageless. These are all words that I'm willing to accept. So I do think that me in an Elsa cosplay cardboard cutout is probably the next stage of this.
So if your listeners and viewers were wondering, hey, when did the edible kick in for Russ? It was about minute 42.
Gluten-free, vegan. Oh my God! Thank you so much for joining us.
I love you,
Adam
buddy.
Ray.
This
No,
was awesome,
I
man.
love you.
Great
All
to see
right,
it.
and cut the recording. Go Birds. Adam.
Dude, great to see you, bud.
No. So that was part 2 of our interview with Adam Ray on Season 3, Episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's Russ Gutin Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Just a little tidbit, we are going to have a little bonus episode on our platforms. That'll be sort of the Zack Snyder's Justice League mega cut of part 1 and part 2 all together, so you can sort of hear it all at once. But again, we want to thank Adam for joining us and letting us split that into 2 parts. So again, thank you, Adam, and everybody for joining us on season 3, episode 4 of Philly Comedy Club and Last Out Media's RUS GUTIN Experience on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. We are so excited that you joined us, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Go Birds. Good night.